Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Hall, and I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your lovely comments on my last video, in which I shared my story of being called to Shamanic Journey. In case you haven't heard, I'm making you a little series of videos to celebrate the coming of my new online course on Shamanic Journey. In our last video, we learned about how Shamanic Journey can catalyze your spiritual growth and even blast open your spiritual gifts in beautiful ways. Shamanic Journey is truly something that seems to simply show up in our lives at the time when we are ready for it and maybe need it most. And perhaps, just maybe, it's showing up for you now. I was guided by my angels and spirit guides to create the perfect beginner's course for all those who feel called to begin practicing Shamanic Journey. Whether to open your spiritual gifts, begin communing with spirit guides to receive messages, perhaps for healing, or simply to explore what is possible within your amazing, magnificent spiritual consciousness. Shamanic Journey is the ancient spiritual practice of inducing a meditative, dream, or trance-like state in your awareness, which unlocks your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is a vast ocean of energy and knowledge. It is your personal gatekeeper to accessing the spirit world, to the collective spiritual mind of the all. The spirit world is something that is simultaneously within us and within and around all creation. It is a trans-physical dimension of being made of mind and spirit, and we all have access to it at all times. Shamanic Journey is a spiritual practice that helps you to access the spirit world and practice navigating through it, thereby learning to meet with spirit guides, channel healing energy, or receive messages that pertain to your life. This course is for everyone who wants to explore the spirit world and maybe connect with that beautiful wilderness of spiritual consciousness that is waiting inside of you. And it would be my honor to teach you more. Now, there is a saying that one hears every so often among those who study shamanism. The phrase is seeing in the dark. To see in the dark, in the shamanic sense, is to awaken your spiritual psyche and intuitive awareness to the extent that you pick up on all of the magic happenings of life, to the extent that you can interpret their meanings and messages, and perhaps even speak to spiritual beings or read the energy of others around you. This phrase, seeing in the dark, came forth from the Siberian Tungus people, one of the richest cultural examples in the world of the global spiritual tradition of shamanism. And from the Tungusic language is derived the word shaman. And when etymologists worked to study the root and the meaning of this word, they found that it can be interpreted as one who knows or one who sees in the dark. Beautiful, isn't it? So shamanism, we might say, is the spiritual path of learning how to see in the dark. Or rather, learning how to see and know both in this physical world that we live in, as well as in the many deep layers of reality that weave through it. To see into the invisible realms of mind and spirit that permeate all human experience. I'd like to tell you a story of something that happened to me after about maybe a year or so of practicing Shamanic Journey. At the time, I was in college and living in Ann Arbor, Michigan, practicing Shamanic Journey every week with a Shamanic Journey group. And this group was founded as an offshoot of studies from an anthropologist by the name of Dr. Felicitas Goodman, who studied shamanism on every continent of the world, and who found that for thousands and thousands of years, all around the world, people were essentially engaging in very similar spiritual practices. spiritual practices that involved initiating trance-like states by holding particular body postures and allowing their consciousness to then delve into the spirit world. Dr. Goodman found that often many of the tribes that were practicing shamanism were even using the same body postures and very similar trance-inducing rituals to journey to the spirit world, all while existing thousands of miles apart and presumably without having any awareness of one another. And she found that when she observed her students repeating these rituals, recreating them, and the body postures and so forth, that they were having journeys, experiencing visions, visits from spirit guides, and energy body shifts that were often exactly the kinds of journeys that each of these postures were originally intended for triggering, based on these old traditions that were tens of thousands of years old. So, well, as I was learning this journeying each week, I was noticing that my spiritual awareness was blossoming. I was beginning to experience very, very vivid dreams. And often in these dreams, I found myself working with the angels. And it seemed like they were working to rebirth my energy body and shift my consciousness. And I was beginning to experience synchronicities in which people or signs or messages would just show up exactly when they were needed. And then I also began to perceive spiritual energy working in the physical world. Sometimes I could see or feel the emotions and thoughts that were moving off of another person. Or at other times I saw brightly colored sparkles or little flashes of light hovering in the air when angels were near. It was all very beautiful. And I remember journaling about that every night, practically, all these exciting new findings. Well, during the springtime of that first year, I had decided to go for a walk in the woods, I remember, in the middle of the night. It was one of those Friday nights where if you live in a college town in the middle of a student neighborhood, you're not really likely to get any sleep. I'm pretty sure everyone in my co-op house was probably off playing beer pong and blasting music. And, well, at the time, increasingly, I found that just wasn't an energy that I really wanted to be a part of. As my spirit awakened, I longed for quiet, solitude, stillness, and nature. I didn't want anything to pull me off track from the delicate changes that seemed to be taking place in my energy body. And I felt so drawn to the woods that night. I had a friend who offered to go with me, and so we walked all the way to the Arboretum, which was a giant expanse of land right in the middle of the city, filled with forested areas for hiking, with lots of beautiful paths and the Plymouth River snaking through it. And it was maybe 2, maybe 3 in the morning, and we had walked a long, long way into the forest, just quietly enjoying it. And I remember that the world had a sort of silver glow to it. I remember the moon and the stars were out, lighting up the clouds with very bright white, silvery gray colors. And the dew on the grass seemed to have a shiny quality to it. And I remember even the green pine needles on the trees were sort of shining under that moon. We walked, and soon we came out to an open field that fell just before a very steep, long, grassy hill. And all of a sudden, something was moving in the distance, something bright and shiny. And so we stopped short. And I remember I felt like every fiber of my body was listening and opening to what we were seeing. A big, beautiful, silvery white, horse-like creature was galloping across the hilly part of the meadow. At first there was this part of my mind that wondered, was that a deer? Is this a horse that escaped from a farm somewhere? And I managed to whisper to my friend, do you see that? And my friend's face was still, his eyes were wide as we looked out. And my friend, mind you, was not a spiritually minded person. He self-identified as a logical, left-brained, analytical, skeptical sort. But even he just sort of gasped and said, I don't know, it's like a white stag from a fairy tale. So we watched it continue to gallop across the meadow, and it was still maybe half a football field's length away, but now it was right directly in front of our view. And it was at a place where, in my mind, I was saying, surely we should be able to hear this creature's hooves on the ground by now. Not a sound. No. The galloping white stag horse or the unicorn or whatever it was, it made absolutely no sound. In fact, its hooves seemed to glide and float and flash over the ground like a camera flash, bouncing across the grass. And its muscles seemed to move so fast that they glittered in and out of this world, so fast that it didn't seem possible for any living creature to move like that. And yet, there it was. And we watched until the magnificent, luminescent creature, who seemed to shine from the inside out, had run across the whole meadow and then disappeared into the dark woods. And I thought to myself, was that what they call seeing in the dark? And all I heard in response was a gentle voice echoing in the back of my mind that said, "You are opening. You are opening. You are opening." This world we live in is full of magic, meaning, and mysterious, interconnected beauty. It is everywhere and it is always. And it can bring you not only insights, not only understanding that may not be readily available to your 5 physical senses, but also such beauty, such passion and adventure can be yours when you begin to remove the seeming limits from your perception. This reality is so much more than the sum of its physical parts and experiences. And you have the ability to perceive and touch that magic, just as we all do when we open to it. And that is my wish for you, to get in touch with your own natural soul magic. Now, part of you may be wondering, who, me? Who am I to see the spirit world? Who am I to have an angel visit me and speak to me? Who am I to expect to channel the divine? Who, me? But you see, the angels know you. They watch over you on this journey that you're on through life, and they know exactly who you are. They know that you are a child of God. You're a child of pure divinity, of the source of all love and wisdom. You are one with the Creator and have access to all its knowledge if you dare to reach out to it. And the access point of this lies not outside of you, but in here. You carry it with you at all times so as never to lose touch with it. The spiritual knowledge and unity is right here. This is the door, and you have the choice to walk through it. And that is the choice that Shamanic Journey presents to you. In my course, I was guided by Spirit to teach you that you don't have to be some ordained shaman from any particular cultural tradition or ancestry or special something or other in order to journey and to see in this way. You are human. And no matter where your ancestors once walked on this globe, they all practiced shamanism at some point. If you go back far enough, there is anthropological evidence of this spirituality in your ancestry. Whether you are Asian, African, European, North or South American, native to Australia or to the South Pacific Islands or to the Arctic lands, everywhere. This, the most ancient form of spirituality, is a tradition that has been on this earth for at least 40,000 years, according to anthropologists. It was once everywhere, so it's yours, and it's being reborn in you and in me and in all who are called to study it. as medicine for this modern world that we live in. Because we will never stop needing the vital spiritual connection to the earth and to one another that shamanic tradition offers us. If you feel interest in journeying, know that you can journey and that it can open so much within you. And I would be honored to teach you the core basic principles needed to get started and to begin navigating the spirit world and the inner realms of you. So please comment below and let me know, do you feel called to open your intuitive gifts? Or maybe have you ever had an encounter with spirit that helped you to touch or see something magic? I bet you have, and I'd like to know. And if you feel guided, please join me on Saturday, April 6th for my free live Shamanic Journey webinar so that I can lead you through a guided shamanic journey experience. And you'll find, of course, the link to register for that and to stay up to date on all of this in the description below. I can't wait for you to join me in my Shamanic Journey courses, and know that I do have another video coming up for you very soon to teach you just a little bit more. It is my honor to be connected with you, and know until we meet again that you are so loved and so very blessed. Bye!